The wizarding world of Harry Potter is one of the biggest franchises in the world. 7 books, 8 movies, billions of dollars at the box office, and even more beyond that in sales and merch. The London studio tour and theme parks all over the world get millions and millions of visitors every single year, and no matter how you feel about the Cursed Child on stage, it's insanely popular. And even the Fantastic Beasts movies, which did have diminishing returns at the box office, ain't half bad. And compare that to the latest DC and Marvel movies. I think Fantastic Beasts 3 was around 400 million. Think about that. But hey guys, it's Fentony, back again with another video. And in this video, I want to discuss what's next for Harry Potter and the Wizarding World on this channel. Because you'll remember last year in April, Warner Brothers announced a brand new Harry Potter TV show for Max, which is a full reboot with J.K. Rowling as executive producer, and she describes it as a faithful adaptation. And it's meant to cover all 7 books in a 10+ year commitment. So it's going to be 1 book to 1 season. So 7 seasons of television. But to me that kind of seems a bit unbalanced. Because how can you do 8 or 10 episodes for Philosopher's Stone and compare that to Order of the Phoenix, which I think is the largest book in the series if I'm right. Or even Deathly Hallows, which is arguably the most complex. And that's why it was split into 2 movies. There's just no balance there. They would have to do longer episodes for the later books, or just include more, or both. The films sacrifice characters, story elements, and even entire subplots to condense down into 2-hour movies. And Goblet of Fire was when it really became noticeable. And this TV show could correct those mistakes and put back some of our favourite moments. Such as Peeves the Poltergeist, Nearly Headless Nick's Death Day Party, put the Marauders back into the 3rd movie, or Winky the House Elf in Goblet of Fire. And don't get me started on Order of the Phoenix. And then Half-Blood Prince, which is my favourite book, but least favourite film. Give me all the Voldemort stuff back. All of Tom Riddle's memories. And then for Deathly Hallows, we can maybe have all of it. Maybe include Dumbledore's backstory once again, because it was only touched upon in the films. And we never got the conclusion in Fantastic Beasts. But supposedly we're talking late Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon levels of budget. And I think if this reboot is done right, then it could be something special. It's never going to replace the movies, but it doesn't have to. And the late great Robbie Coltrane, who played Hagrid, said it best at a 20-year special. The legacy of this movie is that my children's generation will show them to their children. So you could be watching it in 50 years' time. Easy. I'll not be there, sadly, but Hagrid will. Yes. And those words hit hard. The movies were far from perfect, but they were a massive part of my childhood and most of yours. They're not perfect films nor perfect adaptations, but they're special and will remain forever, just like Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. And going back to the announcement last April, I felt there was a very mixed reception. Because in all honesty, this reboot is not needed. It's clearly just for money in terms for Warner Brothers. But for J.K. Rowling, it might be a way of keeping control of the brand. It will have an entire new cast, which I think is going to be the hardest part to get over for many fans, because we grew up with these actors playing these characters. And everyone has their fan casting. I've heard so many out there, especially Cillian Murphy as Voldemort. But after Oppenheimer, his stock value has just shot up, and it's likely an Oscar's incoming. But if this series has a House of the Dragon level budget, they can afford a couple big names. But it's not just about the characters and the actors. What about the iconography, the sets, the visuals, the music? Hogwarts Castle, Gryffindor Common Room, Diagon Alley, Hogsmeade. So many famous locations that are ingrained into our minds. And for the teaser they released when they made this announcement, they did reuse the castle design and the Harry Potter logo and the music. Might just be a placeholder for now because it's so famous. Initially, they want to use all the iconic stuff and then rebrand later. But it's kind of like Star Wars. The visuals and especially the music is a character itself. It's a major element. You cannot replace it. I could totally see them reusing Hedwig's theme. They would have to. That is the Harry Potter theme. But even though it's a full reboot, you cannot get away from the iconography. For example, in Hogwarts Legacy, that is clearly Hogwarts Castle. But they did change a lot up. But they kept so much the same at the same time, or as close as it could be. And I think you'd have to do something like that for the reboot. You have to keep Hogwarts Castle the same from the outside. At least keep the basics of the Great Hall and Gryffindor Common Room. But of course you want this series to stand on its own and not just feel like a copy. But like I said, J.K. Rowling is executive producer, and she wants to maintain the integrity of her books because that's important to her. And they're also bringing along David Heyman, who was producer for all the Harry Potter movies. But we will not see David Yates, who directed the last few Harry Potter movies, Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, and the two Deathly Hallows, alongside 3 Fantastic Beasts movies. So that's 4 different directors for Potter, each of their own style, and Yates had some of the best stuff. But also, I'm not a fan of everything he's done, but I'm very thankful for his time both on Potter and Fantastic Beasts. But I think he knows his time is up. Maybe he feels he's worked long enough, and new adventures await. But with David Heyman being involved, for now at least, it feels like they're just going to be redoing the movies in a TV show format with new cast. Maybe he's on board because his relationship with J.K. Rowling, or maybe his involvement allows the use of elements from the films. I'm not sure, but Warner Brothers need money. They want to cash in on all the IPs. David Zaslav was talking about DC, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. That's what he wants. Quick money. But in the long term, does it damage the brand? First and foremost, you've got to make sure this is good, and promising a faithful adaptation is a promising start. So you've got to keep the changes to a minimum, and no Harry Potter for a modern audience. But at the same time, it's far too soon to do this. The last movie came out in 2012, and this might come out Christmas 25, maybe some point in 26. I would stick with Christmas though if I was in charge. Harry Potter ain't a Christmas movie, but it just feels right. But if we get to that point, it's not even been 15 years, and you don't need a reboot. The movies are not millions of miles away from the books, and it's not like Percy Jackson or Eragon, or Narnia, which was never finished. But Warner Brothers know Harry Potter prints money. But I think if it's done good, and the creatives are doing it for the right reasons, they don't screw over the fans and mess with the brand, then we could be onto something. But like I said, this is completely unnecessary, and it's kind of risky, because fans will reject it if it sucks, and some fans will reject it no matter what. But if I'm being honest, I kind of wanted an animated Harry Potter series. I think you could do so much with that, but live action is where all the money is, and hopefully J.K. Rowling being involved is a good start. As for other stuff, of course Fantastic Beasts was a massive part of this channel, got videos on all the movies. But what about 4 and 5? Because remember, Fantastic Beasts was originally a trilogy, then it moved on to 5, but right now it seems to be in limbo after the poorer box office from the third one. Because like I said, they had diminishing returns. Top of my head, I think the first one was 800 million, second one 600-700, and the third one 400. And even though those numbers are pretty good by today's standard, Fantastic Beasts is clearly on hold for now, or maybe cancelled. And I think it'd be such a shame for Jude Law not to return as Albus Dumbledore one more time. But what else can we talk about? Cursed Child. For years they were talking about a movie, but I think that's dead as well. Either J.K. Rowling doesn't want it, or the Golden Trio said no. I think Warner Brothers did want it though, because I think if you'd done a Cursed Child movie, and it was good, was getting good reviews, you brought back the original cast obviously, and word of mouth was strong, we're talking another $2 billion movie. But that's clearly not going to happen, and Warner Brothers have went down the route of a reboot instead. And even though I'd love to see the Golden Trio back, Cursed Child is not the right movie, because the story is just not up to scratch. It's almost fan fiction. And of course, Hogwarts Legacy, 22 million copies sold. And I think that is one of the best games of the year. Gameplay was strong, got the Platinum Trophy eventually after they fixed all the bugs. But the story wasn't that great. I felt some of the side quests were better than the main quests. Like Sebastian's story was the best. And I kind of felt they cut a few corners. For instance, I've played it for all 4 houses, completed it as Gryffindor, and for the other houses I got to the point where I could get the trophy. And it almost feels the same. There's not enough difference between the houses, other than a few quests, your starting point, and of course the common rooms. And of course the game has more issues. Complete it now and there's absolutely nothing for me to do. I think there's a few challenges, but they're all easy, because you get to a point where you're just so overpowered with the 3 unforgivable curses and everything upgraded. Nothing can touch you. And I kind of felt most of it was a bit repetitive. Random dungeons felt the same, and the Scottish Highlands at first were fun. It's fun to fly about and explore, but there's only so much you can do, and a lot of the villages felt the same. And I want to spend more time in Hogwarts. And a sequel is supposedly in development. Of course it is, it's made millions and millions. Hopefully that fixes it for the future. I would have loved to have seen DLC for the first game, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But yeah, Harry Potter will always be a big part of this channel. Of course, we covered Fantastic Beasts here, and I am looking forward to the reboot being a major part of the channel when it drops, so subscribe to get all the updates. And if Fantastic Beasts ever comes back, you know where to come. Can't wait for Hogwarts Legacy 2, and a second trip to London for the studios is definitely incoming for me. And I'm currently rewatching the movies. I'm on to Deathly Hallows now. And like I said, let's hope the reboot, when it comes around, fixes a lot of the issues and brings back a lot of the favourite parts that were cut. But guys, make sure you post your thoughts on the Harry Potter reboot, Fantastic Beasts 4 and 5, Cursed Child, Hogwarts Legacy, anything Harry Potter, anything Wizarding World. But for now, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.